24 hours from now, the Super Bowl champion Eagles will take the field right here for the first time since the NFC Championship game. The Super Bowl is old news in their minds, all the focus on a brand new season and beating the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow night. Week 1 starts right now, where everyone is coming for the crown.
Heavy is the head that wins the crown, yeah. Heavy is the head that wins the crown.
It's over. The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59. What a game. What a season. What a team.
It's a new season. It's a new season. It's a new journey.
It's another opportunity for us to test our focus. If you think about it, we've lived about this mantra for the last 3-4 months. But we're pushing on. We're moving on.
What we did last year was special. It's going to be cool to have that moment, but most important thing is win that football game, and that's where our focus is.
Well, if you don't know, now you know. We're not talking about a repeat here. Welcome into Coming for the Crown, presented by Philly Sports Trips. Ashlyn Sullivan, Barrett Brooks, the Hall of Famer Ray Didinger here with us, and Dave Zangaro. And Ray, it's so interesting. We've been hearing that message for months now, but it all comes from Nick Sirianni. And what a difference a year makes. It. You can have this consistent of a message, everyone buy in, and focus on week 1 after being Super Bowl champions is crazy.
100%. And, Nick didn't write this playbook. I mean, I've been covering this game and covering this league long enough that I heard Don Shula say the same thing in the 70s and Chuck Noll. And, you win a Super Bowl, and this guy did it. I mean, he was there. He understands. The feeling is when you come back, you really do have to turn the page. I mean, people think you can carry that celebration right into the next year. Not in the NFL, you can't. I mean, you have to refocus. You enjoy what you did. You get your ring. But then you're back to training camp, and you got to have the idea that we're going to go back next year and we're going to win this championship. Not defend what we already won, but go out and win the one that's in front of us. And I think that's the appropriate message, and you're right. I think that each of the players has really totally bought into it.
Right. It really is a blank slate, and Ray just said it, Barrett. You've been there. You've done this. When you look back, what was the one thing that worked when you were defending a Super Bowl title?
Got punched in the mouth a lot. I mean, that was basically what it was. We played in all those Super Bowls. We were everybody's Super Bowl. Everybody marked us on the calendar. And it's going to be the same way here. The difference is the whole culture, how they're doing this. It was a great culture in that Steelers locker room, but at the end of the day, we're kind of feeling ourselves a little bit, and subconsciously, they were thinking, all right, we're going to walk on the field and everybody's going to know it, but you better bow down because we're Super Bowl champions. It didn't work that way. Instead, they looked at us, all right, we're going to knock the big dogs off the mountain. And that's exactly what happened. I think we were like 8-8 or something like that because of it.
Yeah, target on your backs, especially this season, that's for sure. And you listen to these players and these coaches talk, and it's almost like they're reading from a script. Take a look.
I think from the outside, I think the city and everybody has been talking about it, but this building has been locked in. We put that to bed long ago. And like I said, we're just ready to go. That's over with. A lot of players didn't even experience that, so that's over with.
How do you feel about the fact that even though it is banner night for you guys, the fans will still have the standard of performing and winning at a high level?
Yeah, I didn't know it was banner night. We won't be out for that.
Well, Dave, the message, it's crystal clear. I will say a lot has been made of banner night. That's very normal for teams not to be on the field for these banner celebrations, but it just goes to show the example that Nick Sirianni and this Eagles team didn't do anything really extra to want to be on the field. That's old news in their minds.
And it has to be. And Ray mentioned it, that Nick didn't come up with this playbook, but it's really the only playbook to use in a situation like this because you can't worry about what happened. I think the only thing that can carry over is confidence. If you have done it, you have the confidence that you can do it again, but you should also have the knowledge that you know what it takes now, and it doesn't take thinking too far ahead. You have to worry about every single game as it comes. And Barrett's right, too. They're going to get everyone's best shot. We kind of saw that in the preseason when the Browns came to town for a joint practice. I mean, they were as juiced up as possible, and that was just a practice. They're going to see that every single week this year, and they have to be ready for it.
Yeah, especially when you look at, I think that Browns joint practice day, those 2 days, that was the most we learned about this Eagles team in training camp, because frankly, that's a lot of what we saw with this offense, Barrett. And I will say, for a Browns team that came in there and we thought, they're going to struggle. This Browns team, the quarterback carousel, I thought that the Eagles and the Browns were pretty evenly matched during those joint practices.
Yeah, we were evenly matched, but I think it was more so we didn't prepare for the Browns team. We didn't game plan, to go against their strengths, kind of hide our weaknesses. We went in there with, play selections, trying to see what works, what doesn't work. We're out and, playing and seeing what fits in with here. What is this guy going to do? How is he going to, adjust to adversity? What is he going to do in this situation? They were playing more situational football and trying to see where this team was and what plays worked. And you can call any time, more so than game planning just the Browns. We wouldn't just let, number 95 just sit over and do what he wanted to do. We slide protection, bring him back, tight end, everything else, off the bench to stop him from doing what he did against the Eagles during the joint practices.
And Ray, it's gotten so interesting, preseason training camp as a whole, especially when you have a new offensive coordinator and a new offense. Everyone wants to know what this offense is going to look like. And truthfully, going into week one, none of us really know because they haven't showed us much in the preseason.
No, they've shown you nothing. and on purpose, they haven't shown you anything. And that's what you would expect. Look, I think that in terms of the players, it's all the same players back. I mean, Mikael Becton's the only player you've lost. You've got 10 of the 11 starters is back. The big change is the offensive coordinator, the play caller, Kevin Patullo. And how is the communication? To me, that's really the only question. It's not a question of philosophy or the plays that are going to be called, because he was with this team and he's worked with Jalen Hurts. They know all that. It's really just the communication during the game, getting the signals in. Will they be able to play at the pace that they did last year? I think it's really the only thing that they have to work out. Everything else, I think this offense should be as explosive as ever. I mean, you've got Saquon Barkley coming off a historic year, and you've got a tremendous set of receivers. You've got the best pair of receivers in the league, and a really good tight end coming back. I'm glad he's back. There was some question about it, but I'm glad to see Dallas Goedert back. This is a team that on the offensive side is really loaded.
Yes, they seem ready. And speaking of that, the Eagles have plenty of mouths to feed on offense. And with a new coordinator here, Kevin Patullo, that could be a challenge. But the new guy running the offense says everyone is on the same page. Here's what he told our John Clark.
You can feel that at times, but most of the good players understand the magnitude of the game. Like when the run game's rolling, receivers are usually good. When the pass game's going, the receivers in no line understand, like, hey, we're just protecting now. So I think it kind of goes hand in hand. The guys feel the moment of when we need to do something and to step up, and everybody kind of feeds off each other, right? If Saquon's doing well, that means play actions might pop up. Like, so you just kind of feed off each other and go from there.
Well, Dave, I love that answer because for Kevin Patullo, one, it's so much easier to communicate that when you're not the new guy in the building. He's been here, he knows these guys, but it'd be so easy for everyone clamoring for a more passing attack here in 2025. He just said, if the run game is going to work, that's what we're going to go with. And that's how it has to be, even though everyone wants to see more passing attempts this season.
Yeah, I mean, especially the receivers. They want to get the football. That's not a secret, right? But if the team's winning, it's really hard to be the selfish person in a locker room. Now, if your losses start piling up, that's where things get interesting, and that's where, a player says, hey, I can help us win football games if you give me the football. But yeah, as long as things are going well, I think we saw it last year. Players were willing to buy in and they were willing to block, and that matters. It really does. And I think it starts with Jalen Hurts and those receivers, because we know the diva stigma that comes with being a wide receiver in the NFL, and they'll tell you, of course they want the football, but for the greater good, they might not always get it, and that can be a tough pill to swallow. It becomes a lot easier when you win a Lombardi.
Right, and Barrett, that's why I think it was no secret. Nick Sirianni has messaged the team. He told us about it yesterday. The key word, contributing. He wants these guys to leave their ego at the door. I'm really curious if that can happen again, where everyone can leave their ego at the door, because there is only so much football to go around here.
There's only one football, and there's a lot of miles to be fed, and that's that's a great problem to have. When you have dynamic receivers like that, a dynamic running back, and the best offensive line in the NFL, and a pretty good tight end, everybody's going to want the ball because everybody can contribute and everybody can make big plays. So when you're offered, all right, the offensive line say, hey, we want to run the ball, we got to run the ball. But then the receiver's like, hey, man, I can beat this DB over here easily. He can't hold me. And then, I'm always open. Look at my locker, see what it says, But, this is the type of team that it's an embarrassment of riches. can't make everybody happy, but what you can do is win. And I think that's what they're more concerned with, winning. And if winning takes us throwing the ball this game, we're going to do it. If it's going to take running the ball this game, we're going to do it. And I think KP understands that, and he's going to put those guys in great positions to do that.
Right. And we know the big reason why the Eagles won so many games last season was Saquon Barkley. And now the book is out on him. Everyone is going to try to load the box and defend this guy. But they tried to do that last season. A lot of times it didn't work. Is Saquon Barkley going to have the same year that he had last season?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people asking me, is he going to rush for 2,000 yards again? Probably not. But the point is, does he have to rush for 2,000 yards to get this team back to the Super Bowl? No, he doesn't. I think he's going to come back, and I think he's going to have a big year because he's that good of a player. And this offensive line is the best in the league without question. But I think what you're going to see coming into it is exactly what you said, is teams from week to week are going to game plan. Look, we have to come into this game, and we have to start with the idea that we're going to shut the running game down. We're not going to let Barkley beat us. If that's the philosophy that every defense takes coming in to play you, then that's going to create opportunities to throw the ball more. And I think, I don't know if the Eagles are going to lead the league in rushing attempts this year again, because I think the opportunity is going to be there to throw the ball more because you're going to get good matchups. And listen, you have a quarterback who can complete a high percentage of passes, and you have the best receiving core in the league. So why not take advantage of that?
Music to Eagles fans' ears, that's for sure. As the Eagles season after appearing in Super Bowls hasn't exactly gone according to plan, we'll talk about how they can change history. Plus, we'll talk about players on defense that need to step up. That's up next on Coming for the Crown, presented by Philly Sports Trips.